Hello, so it's Craig here with Studio Flow, and we're all about the emerging technology. So I wanted to show you something cool that I've been doing this weekend. I'm here in a 2018 Nissan Leaf 2.0. So this is the 40 kilowatt hour battery pack Nissan Leaf. It does about 180 mile range. So we've been testing it for the weekend to see. We've gone down to Devon to visit my folks, and that's about 180. That's about 100 miles each way. Now we happened to stop at the charger on the way down and on the way back. Use the Ecotricity charger. We didn't need to, but my bladder range isn't as good as this car's travelling range, so I had to stop off and have a bit of a respite and to get the kids some drinks and stuff. So let me show you around. Let me turn it on. So the buttons turn it on there. I've got the key in my pocket. So there's a full LCD display up here that gives you, things like your speed and what you're listening to, and the sat nav appears up there as well. And you've got this sat nav. This sat nav's rubbish, but I find most car sat navs are pretty poor. But of course, it's got Apple CarPlay and it's got Android Auto as well. So as soon as you plug it into the USB into your phone, AirPlay appears on the CarPlay. Apple CarPlay. Apple's in-car system appears on the screen, and you can navigate your phone via the screen, which is really nice. If you hit the speaker button here, you get the standard Siri voice prompt pop up, and it all goes through the car system, which is really nice. You've got the parking here, and you've got obviously the standard electric car, reverse and go, like a go-kart. So this 2018 model Leaf has a couple of kind of cool extras on it that the previous models haven't got, and they come as standard. So it's got a set of what they call Pro Pilot controls, which are semi-autonomous features, driving features that I've been testing out. One of them is adaptive cruise control. So what you can see here, if I change this setting on the LCD and turn on the cruise control, you'll see it's got these three lines. And as soon as I go up to a car, not this one that's parked in front of me, but if I'm driving along, I go up to a car and have the cruise control set at a speed, it will actually adjust the speed of my car to match the car in front. So that's fair enough. Most cars, modern cars have got adaptive cruise control. There's nothing necessarily new there. But what is quite cool about this Leaf is that alongside that, it's also got the function to keep you inside the lane. So if you're driving on a motorway, you can put the adaptive cruise control on, set yourself into the lane automatically, and then the car will essentially drive and steer itself all on its own, keeping a distance between you and the car in front. You then just indicate, the car accelerates to overtake the car in front of you up to the speed you've set it to. You indicate to pull back in again, and then it just gets back into that lane and settles down. Unfortunately, this particular model car didn't have the button, so I don't think it's got the lane assist cruise control. It's just got the adaptive cruise control on it, which is a shame. Yeah, that's the way that that's what the model they gave us, so I didn't get a chance to try that. The other cool thing this has got, which is interesting, is something that Nissan call the E-pedal, which is this button down here. And that means that you can drive the car essentially just with one pedal, just with the accelerator. So you just put the accelerator, you push it to go forward, and then as soon as you lift your foot off the accelerator, the car will slow down. And actually, if you lift it off fast enough, it'll actually start applying brakes, mechanical brakes. So you can essentially drive the car with just one pedal. And I've been playing around with it, and you know what? It does take a tiny little bit of getting used to, and it's if you're not used to it, a couple of times I forgot that it was on, and I lifted my foot off the accelerator to put it onto the brake, and the car really started to slow down, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, no, the E-pedal's on. But I think you can quickly get used to it, and actually it's another part of this car that makes driving really, really slick and seamless. And overall, this car is just a gorgeous vehicle to drive. It's just smooth, buttery smooth. The low center of gravity that electric vehicles have, because the battery pack is so low, means that it's a pleasure to drive. It just goes in and out of corners really nicely. This car has far more pickup, far more get up and go than the previous model had. Much more akin to the Renault Zoe 22 kilowatt hour battery pack model that I had and I sold recently. That Renault Zoe is like a go-kart. That thing was so much fun to drive. But this is a bigger car, it's a heavier car, it's got a bigger battery pack, but this felt as nimble and as sprightly as that Renault Zoe did. It's just, yeah, it's a gorgeous car to drive. The other thing that I love about it, other than its styling, which I'll show you in a second, is that it's far less fiddly. Like the previous Renault, Nissan Leaf that I test drove, I decided not to get it and I went with the Renault Zoe instead, just because the controls were just super fiddly. There was controls for this and fiddly bits for that, but this just feels much more like a normal car, if that's I don't want to call it a normal car, but like a traditional car, a non-EV. Everything here has got its place. It's all really well positioned. I love this little gear knob. All the buttons on the steering column make a lot of sense. You know, everything that you would expect, all the information you're being given is really good. You can see here how much regenerative braking you're creating as well. And actually, one thing I've noticed with this Leaf, certainly that's different to the Zoe I had before and is different to the Leaf I drove, is that regenerative braking on this car is much stronger, much stiffer than any previous electric car I've had, especially with the e-pedal on. Like, as soon as you've got the e-pedal mode on and you lift your foot off the accelerator, the car really starts to hard brake with the regenerative braking kicking in, and then you can feel it when it puts the mechanical brake on as well. One thing I'll quickly show you is the back and the boot. So, you know, the back, one thing about an electric car is that it's got, oh, actually, one second, let's turn the car off. There we go, press it, the power button to turn it off. One thing that's different about an electric car is that the base, the pan where the batteries live, mean that the rear seats are a lot higher, which is great for kids' seats because they've got much more comfortable, much higher level where they're sat, so they can get much more visibility and they can see out better. So my kids love it in the back of an electric car, but there's still a fair amount of space for stashing stuff. You know, you've got, this bit's a bit higher than normal, but you've still got plenty of space in the footwell. And actually, I had some adults in here over the weekend who both said that they really enjoyed the higher ride position in the back. I could see out much better. And then there's the boot space. So there's absolutely tons of boot space in here, and you can obviously take parcel shelf off as well for putting other stuff. But usually I've got a big carry bag that I put sideways in most boots, but this thing fits it lengthways. There's just so much boot space, really, really deep. I don't know how Nissan have managed to do this, but they've got a huge amount of space in that boot there. It's absolutely incredible. But they've managed to fit a 40 kilowatt hour battery pack in this thing, which is twice as much as they had in the previous, certainly in my Renault Zoe. It is a bit of a bigger car. I mean, physically it is a bit bigger. It doesn't actually fit in our garage. I've just tried it. I like the styling of it. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. The previous Leaf looked a little bit like a kind of squashed frog, but this is absolutely gorgeous. I particularly like at the back some of the blue fairing it's got. Obviously it's a little bit dirty there, but yeah, I absolutely love the styling of it. Quite angular, very modern, very contemporary. Just going to hit that button there and show you the charging, because this is different to what I had last time I tried a Leaf. So it's got the standard DC connectors in there, rapid charge, but it's also got Type 2 Mena keys charging, which is what I used to charge my Renault Zoe on. So that's a rapid charge AC, so I think it can take AC and DC. I'm not entirely sure about that. That's certainly, I tried it on the Rapids with DC. Obviously, Ecotricity Rapids on the motorway services didn't have any problems with those. They charge really quickly. The car seems to charge really quickly. I got it in the services, and by the time I got in, got a cup of tea, come out for a wee, I'd got 50 extra miles on the range, so that was amazing. And yeah, I'm not sure what that one's for, really. That's where the granny lead, when we plug it into the 3-pin cable, plugs into, but that is exactly the same as my Renault Zoe rapid charge AC cable, Type 2 Mena keys it's called, and so maybe you can rapid charge off that one as well. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's the charge flap. It's got some lovely little detailing on here, which is really, really nice. So yeah, there we go. There's a quick little review of the Nissan Leaf 2.0 electric car. Taking it out for a test drive, 40 kilowatt hour battery pack, about 170, 180 mile range, and And to be fair, I've been testing it today on motorway, doing 70 miles an hour. You know, it's fairly cold. There's a bit of a wind as well, and those are all things that hit the electric car's range. And actually, you know what? I think we've got some pretty good range today. I think we got about 150, 160 miles. But when you get to, the interesting thing is when you get to a car like this that has this kind of range, you don't really notice. You don't have range anxiety like I used to. You know, I used to have to plan where my routes were going to be when I was driving, making sure that I had good stop-off points. But you know, with a car with this kind of range, it just doesn't matter anymore. You really don't think about it anywhere near as much as you used to do before. So anyway, here we go. I'll end the review there. So this is a little for Studio Flow, a little technology review of the new Nissan Leaf 2.0. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe.